Let's go to Michael here in town. What's up, Michael?
Hey, John. How are you doing this morning?
Partying, brother. What are you up to?
Well, I'm out at work, and I feel like I'm swimming in a hot tub because of how humid it is. But I'm getting through it. So
it would be really cool if you actually clean hot tubs for a living and you're actually swimming in a hot tub. But I get what you're saying.
I'd rather not, honestly.
That was a terrible joke I just made. Man, that was brutal. Sorry. All right. So what's up, dude? No hot tub related questions, but what's up?
Yeah. So pretty simple question. Luckily for you, it's not a dark topic. We'll keep it somewhat happy today. Kind of forward looking. So the question's about my girlfriend and I. We're both in college. She's going to graduate in this December, it looks like, and I'll be graduating summer 2023.
What are you studying, man?
And I'm doing business administration, and right now she's doing political science, and she's going to end up going to law school. So we actually both met you in 2019. So I'll leave it at that.
Did I visit? Was I speaking at your school, or did I work at your school?
You did, yeah.
Very cool, man. Was I lame? Probably kind of.
No, you're awesome. Actually, my mom was like so impressed with you. She actually, I can't remember. I think we talked to you in one of the buildings after, and you're like, "Oh, I'm so happy that it went well." And of course,
I don't want to be impressed by your mom. All right, then never mind. Yeah. Okay, cool. I'm glad that I wasn't an idiot in 2019. There's other people who could call and be like, I knew you in 2019. You're a moron. But that makes me happy, Michael. All right, so you and your girlfriend, she's about to go to law school, about to graduate. You're going to graduate in a year or so. Okay, so what's up?
So we've been dating about 7 months. We're both Christians, and I'll get to the question here. So we both want to know how to go about, like, waiting till marriage with intimacy and how to live a clean relationship. How like we should hold each other accountable, how we should set boundaries, that type of thing. And the reason I'm kind of the one asking this more than she is, I guess I kind of brought it up, but the reason is I've never really had like a serious relationship. I mean, I'm in my 20s now, so I'm taking stuff more seriously, like long term. She is as well. The only other relationship I've had was in high school, like 5 years ago, and it lasted a few months. So this is kind of a new road for me, and actually going about setting boundaries or kind of holding each other accountable in that sense. Just kind of wondering what your thoughts were with that.
Cool, man. So first and foremost, good for you for setting boundaries and saying, hey, this is a value of mine and this is a value of hers, and we're going to have this discussion. Here's why this is super important. Let's say she ends up being the person that you marry. These values discussions will come up over and over for the rest of your life. And so developing now a framework for how are we going to engage in values-based conversations is incredible. If she doesn't, and by the way, like values meaning, is mom going to come live with us or dad going to come live with us? Or are we going to still talk to mom or dad if they get divorced? Or how are we going to raise kids? Or do we going to get this streaming service? I mean, all these different values are going to come up over and over and over and over and over again. The second thing is if y'all break up, I almost said if y'all break up, great. I don't mean great like that, right? I hope y'all don't. I hope it all works out. But you will have had a hard conversation, like a values-based conversation, which is just super important to have. Okay, so before I answer this, I want to challenge one word that you said, okay? And I wrote it down here.
Okay.
I don't like characterizing relationships in clean or dirty. Okay?
Okay.
And so clean is often a derivative of pure, right? And I get the sentiment in Christian circles generally, right? And it can be any relationship. I want to keep it quote unquote pure by not fill in the blank when it comes to sexual activity, okay? There's just a lot of downstream baggage because what ends up happening is if y'all end up making out one night and it crosses a line that y'all had set as a value, are you now unclean? Are you now unpure? Are you now dirty? What do you have to do, right? And so now we're getting to all this identity. So I want to back out of that language for a second, okay? And I want to wrap the language around honoring and consent, okay? And so the way I'd approach this conversation, quite honestly, is pretty simple, and I wouldn't overthink it. I would have a conversation and said, what are you comfortable with? And I need to tell you what I'm comfortable with. That's her telling you her needs and you telling her your needs. And saying, here's where I'm not willing to compromise, and where are you not willing to compromise? What's okay? What's not okay? And this is who we are moving forward. And since we're Christians and we decide that we want to not sleep together until we're married, what does that actually mean? I've met people who don't hold hands. I've met people all the way down the continuum. Like, so what does that actually mean for y'all? And then it comes to, so we're talking about consent. What's okay? What's not okay? And then we're going to talk about how are we going to hold each other accountable? I don't want to overthink that. Just don't put yourself in that situation, right? So people are often like, yeah, but how do I, just, you know what I mean? Don't put yourself in the situation. Right. The more you overthink it, the more likely you're to create some really complex system. And the more complex the system, as the great Nassim Taleb says, the more likely it is that system will fail you. Okay? Right. So make it pretty cut and dry, clean and simple. She said this is her values, this is her lines, these are my values, these are my lines. Ta-da! And if we feel like we're about to cross one of those lines, we're going to stop. Someone's going to pull the ripcord. Someone's going to say, that's enough. And I'm not going to get my feelings hurt. I'm not going to get mad. I'm going to honor, right? I'm going to be about honoring her needs. She's going to be about honoring my needs. And we're going to move forward with this thing. So really it's about having the hard conversation up front, which is, hey, this is a value of mine. And this is a value of hers. So let's create some boundaries and create them together. I can give you some, but they end up sounding like I'm some kind of 80s youth minister. Okay. And I don't want to be that guy, but I mean, if you're trying not to have sex with your girlfriend of 7 months or a year, then don't put yourself in situations where you're gonna have sex with you see what I'm saying? Right. It's as not complex as that. So I gave you a kind of a simple answer. Hopefully I'm not skirting the issue. Ask me more direct questions if I didn't get there.
No, that's pretty much it. We just there's been times where I'm like, man, that got close, or something like that, and I feel some guilt over it, kind of oh man, I shouldn't have done that, and then kind of sticks with me for a little bit, and then it finally passes over, and I'm like, you know what, let's just move on, it happened, moving forward. How do I not do that?
Here's what's important.
Right? So,
remember the old Brene Brown quote: "Shame eats secrets for breakfast." If you cross a line, an established value line between you and your romantic partner, between you and your business partner, between you and your professor, between you and your parents, whatever that is, you cross somebody's value line. You don't just wait till it passes. You address it. Hey, last night we were making out and we've got this line and we both flew past our value line. And we found ourselves in way deeper water than we'd meant to. And we almost crossed our ultimate boundary line that we've set for ourselves. I'm sorry if I put you in an uncomfortable position. And let her speak back to you. And she might say, I'm sorry for putting you in an uncomfortable position. And then y'all can say, what do we want to do next? Right? Not just you go home and be quiet, she goes home and is quiet, and you both just don't address it. Because here's the thing, that will resurface at some point. And it might resurface 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road. It will resurface. So have the conversation, okay? Yeah. Are you in a position to do that with her? You feel safe enough to do that?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, and we've done things similar to that.
Okay.
But hearing you say it kind of, it's kind of like one of those things where I've done that, but now that I hear you explain it, it kind of puts even what I've done in a more clear sense of how to go about doing it, I guess. So,
and so so it's people listening to this are going to have a few reactions. One, what a bunch of idiots. They've been dating for a year or 7 months in college. Why? What? Two, the whatever branch of Christianity, they'll come at you for all different angles, right? So I want to take it out of sex, because sex is it's just a charged conversation. And let's take it over to another situation. In college, I was a hothead. I was a loudmouth. Big shocker, right? And I've actually had quite a bit of transformation personally at how I used to be. I used to be a loudmouth moron, way more so than I am now. And if I was at a concert and I was with my wife, who was my girlfriend then, or I was with any woman at a concert, one of my great stories is I saw somebody like body check a woman. I saw a big guy body check a woman in the middle of it's not really a mosh pit, but kind of. And I just snapped. I sprinted across the room. And it was funny because another guy who I ended up being friends with, he was on the other side of the room and saw it from the other side. And we both ended up, right? So I was that guy. I was trying to be social justice guy all the time and defending people, but I was always looking for fights. And especially when I was with my girlfriend, like it was my job to be there. And one day my wife said, or who the woman is my wife, is not my girlfriend. She said, I feel less safe when you act like that. And I was like, what? Right? That was one of my values, was to protect and defend and show honor and all this stupid nonsense macho bullcrap. And her value was she wants to date somebody and marry somebody who makes her feel safe. And me running around looking for fights or looking for something to get involved in to be tough, that made her feel less safe. And so suddenly I had to change my actions. I had to change my behaviors. We had to sit down and talk about this because I thought I was doing something, right? That we were on the same page. We were not, okay? And I'm pointing that back to you now. One of both of you may have crossed a value line y'all have set for yourselves. And one of both of you, she might have thought, oh, maybe he doesn't want to have this value with anymore and he wants to sleep with me tonight, so okay, I'm in. Or you had that thought. Or maybe you thought, oh, I know we set this boundary, but maybe we can just keep pushing it and pushing it. And you got to go back, and both of you have to be honest with one another. Like my girlfriend, who's now my wife, did to me. Like, I feel less safe. And I know you're trying to keep me safe, but the way you're trying to keep me safe makes me feel less safe. So here's how I would feel more safe. If you see a fight about to happen, that you grab my hand and we leave. That makes me feel very safe. That makes me feel like you are honoring me. And I was like, ooh, okay. So y'all have that similar conversation. When one of y'all starts hitting the gas on it, it would honor me more if you stood up and said, hey, let's go for a walk. Okay? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Let's have the conversation about the values. And by the way, let's get at the end of the day, why do we want to honor one another until we're married? If we're trying to keep up just a behavior, it's going to always fall flat. Is it to honor your faith heritage? Or is there a level deeper than that? It's to honor the person I'm with. Or it's to honor the institution of marriage. Or it's to honor, like, why are you doing these things? Have that conversation with one another. Why are we doing this? What's the point of this value? And then let's go from there. Awesome, Michael. It's awesome that you're this age having conversations with other people that you care about values and about how we're going to live these values out. Don't overthink them and make them about consent and honor. Okay? Man, she's lucky to have you.